Fast and furious, bro. It's starting early this morning. And so, wait, thanks for tuning in. We're about to spend a day on flat rate with Jimmy, making it work. That's what we do every day. We find a way to make it work, except if it's a Maserati. No data on that car, no information. Can't finish diagnosing the AC. We know it's got a temperature sensor related problem, control panel problem. There's 3 different sensors that are all showing astronomically incorrect temperature information, so it won't run the compressors. Dealer, Toyota Sienna from yesterday, can't get it to do what the customer says it does. It said it's not drivable, but it obviously was. I showed you in the road test. Waiting for time to work on the Mercury. We got parts here for it, just haven't been able to work on it yet. Customer made the mistake of saying no rush, so now we're not going to rush. Corvette still tying up a bay down there for who knows what reason. Supposedly it's done until it gets driven a couple more times, then it won't be done. I think I'm going to be doing valve cover gaskets for Jace. He took the day off, so I get to do it's a 7 or 8 hour valve cover gasket job. It's like a Kia Stinger or something like that. Should be fun. What else? We're still waiting on the ABS module for this. Haven't heard anything on the Saturn if he's going to fix that with the melted EGR valve from a couple weeks ago. Silverado we finished up. I think you're about caught up. That's as much as I know anyway. We got a lot going on, basically is what I'm saying, and we're going to be short-handed today. So we'll see what happens with the valve cover gasket job and interruptions and emergency oil changes and things, but that's what we do in this business. When you're on flat rate, you're doing as much work as you can every day, trying to get things done, keeping the world moving. We'll try to learn some things and have some fun too, but just might not be possible. We might not learn a damn thing, or we might not have a bit of fun, but I'll still manage to put on a smile here and there and try to keep it together and try to keep the lights on. That's the most important thing. Let's finish getting this place opened up. Enjoy a nice hot muggy day. It's 81 degrees already, 7:15 in the morning. Hope it's nice where you're at. Let's get started. Stay tuned. All right, looks like this is going to be today's job. It's got to be done today. A lot of plastic clipper doodles. You got to get all of it off. Oh, most of them are all broken already. That's cool. Oh, it's taped down. Okay. Well, not much I can do with that, except retape it when I'm done. Maybe this comes out of here instead. Can't tell. Oh, it's taped to that too. Okay. So you're going to rip the tape one side or the other. We'll rip it over here. Oh, this has been ripped up already. Saving me work. I like it. And we need this out of the way because the valve cover goes under it, and we got to get to some bolts and stuff. Have some chance of it holding up if we pull the clips out instead of just ripping them out of the rubber. Someone must have done that. Hope it wasn't me. I know the injector pump's got to come out. There's a bunch of hoses and lines, wiring harness. The manifold's got to come out to do the right side valve cover. And I don't think this manifold was very hard to get out. I might have done a tune-up on this 8 months ago. It seems familiar. Or a car like it. If I undo some clamps, I can just pull this whole assembly out of here. From here, these two, and a couple of 10s, this whole assembly will be out of here. Easiest part of the job. I'm taking electrical connectors off, trying to get these, there's a lot of little brackets that hold a lot of stuff. The only concern is what order to do them in. Maybe I gotta unbolt this first to get at that a little easier. And this valve cover holds a ton of little brackets and little 10mm bolts. Definitely gonna be worth watching. Plus, if I need any help, I can ask. Might be a... Yeah, you go ahead, make as much noise as you want. Don't you worry about me, I'll be fine. Some people think I'm serious when I do that, but nope. Just enjoying the ambiance is all. Same way you're enjoying my armpit right now. I gotta get this harness to move. Looks like there's a bracket with a 10 down there. If I can get an extension and a little swivelly, I might be able to move that. There's just a lot in this little tiny area. There's a lot going on. So my brain's asking me, hey, what are we doing next? I don't know. I know I'm getting a pick for that cam sensor in the back. There's a cam. I think this is a solenoid and this is a sensor. We got to disconnect them all. I'm gonna mark these, even though they're facing different ways. You never know what's gonna happen going back together. So I marked them 1 and 2. They're too close together. This one I don't have to worry about. It's way back there. That's not gonna be a problem. So what was I doing? 10's an extension next, I think. I'll start getting some of these brackets out of the way. Like that. That's why it's saying to drain the coolant, I think, because this is a coolant hose and it runs across the valve cover. So I am going to have to drain some of the coolant out to at least get this hose off of here. They want you to move this tube out of the way, but it doesn't interfere with the valve cover, I don't think, unless this is in the way or something like that coming up when you lift it up. I know one thing we're going to find out, because I'm going to try to do it without taking that tube off. This tube runs all the way back underneath this harness and it ends back here. So let's hope I don't have to do that. There you go. Now fuel might come out of here. It's been sitting all day, but just a little bit. These ones don't get safeties. They must not be critical electrical components. The rest of them have safeties. These don't. I'm not sure how they decide that stuff either, like a lot of things. They're like, whoa, that's going to come apart. We need a safety. And then they're like, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it, that one. I think if I get under this, I can at least pull that side off. A little bit of gas, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. There's 2 little catches I'm trying to get at the same time. There it is. Helps a little, not a lot, just a little. That wiring goes down underneath turbos and stuff, and because you can't possibly get to work without a turbo. Everyone knows that. There's turbos on my truck too, so but that's a 6,000 pound truck with a V6. Needs a turbo. Probably would be fine without it. Just would be a dog getting on the highway, but it would still do it. V6s nowadays, you get 250 horsepower without any turbos. No problem at all, really. Some of them more than that. Anyway, all this wiring's got to come off of here at some point. Might as well take it off. We're short-handed, and I'm doing work for the short-handed reason. And there's like 2 cars got towed in. There's 4 or 5 cars on the appointment list. This has to be done today. I don't know. Stay tuned. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be exciting. We're going to see what we can do. This can't be in the way for the valve cover to come off. Even with this hose off, the metal tube goes past, so there must be a bracket holding it down there we can loosen. I think there's a 10 right here. I'm just pecking around here and pulling stuff off that as I can get to it, and going back together. It'll be interesting, but we'll figure it out. most of this stuff, because it's molded with certain bends and all, and the harnesses have been replaced for a while, it's going to go back where it goes on its own. Another 10 over here. They're taking the wiring harness off the other valve cover so I can get to this valve cover. I don't know why I'm compelled to do the one that looks harder first. You guys might know that. I feel like if I get this out of the way, then that one should be a little easier, but I really would rather not break it. But you know, sometimes you spend half an hour trying to be careful and end up breaking it anyway. Let me back my tool, turkey. I'm gonna stab myself in the face with my pocket screwdriver while I'm doing this. Thank you. That's why this is 7.8 hours or 7.6 hours in the labor guide. And I find the Asian car labor times aren't very generous. So it's probably a 6-7 hour job at least, if that's what it pays. 7 hours. It's going to take close to the labor times. You know, even though I complain about the labor guide, for the most part, a lot of jobs are weird. They'll either overpay or underpay. It doesn't make any real sense. Now, I'm not going to say that's the end of it, but we're getting close. I know that much. I can't put it over the injector pump and then remove the injector pump, of course, but what's this? It's a tab for something, maybe to keep the wiring harness from getting an injury. I don't know. Got to remember to put this hose back on before I lay the wiring harness in place. There was a cap on there. I just pried it off. It looks like a torque, like they torque it and it breaks the thing off, so it's exactly the right tension they want. But then that cap makes it look like a non-serviceable clamp. And someone told me in the last video, I think when I messed with this car or one like it, they said that just pops off. I'm like, obviously it's a torque to yield clamp, buddy. You don't know what you're talking about. So I just put my tool under it, popped it off, and the camera wasn't on. I apologize. You gotta trust me. I wouldn't lie to you. Got no reason to do that. I'm gonna get this 10 off this bracket now. We'll see if we can get this separated. I don't know how many bolts hold this in or what goes on. I might take the clamp off the bottom too. We'll see how much it'll move out of my way. And these are meant to have a lot of grip, because there's boost and stuff trying to separate them. I believe this is turbocharged anyway. I keep saying it, but yeah, it's got to be, because the coolant, the tube goes down instead of up to the engine. Whew. Well, if it hits the cooling fan before you get it all the way off, what do? Just keep pulling. That's good. Now if I get this hose off of here, they're going to have room for the valve cover, I think. Normally, what the heck is he doing? Normally, I would leave the throttle body hoses hooked up and just move it off to the side. But since I know I got to lower the coolant level to do this job, I'm just going to take the throttle body off with the intake. I took the cap off the radiator. The coolant's already a little low. You can see here, it wasn't up in the neck at least. It doesn't necessarily mean it was a troublesome amount of low, just slightly. Didn't take long. Got an emergency alignment I got to do. It's not even 9 o'clock. I got to work on it for 45 minutes.
Before we go do the alignment, I want to get the manifold off.
He's been trying to get the mercury off the rack for 15 minutes. That's funny. It's 8:48. Just been painted by a Econo Bake or Earl Scheib or someone, but that doesn't mean anything yet. We got to look at the suspension, make sure the ball joints and all that good stuff's in good shape. Oh yeah, this fender's been painted off the car. Where does this go? You guys know? Of course, there's an inspection on it too. But this is new paint. You can see these bolts of fender is actually replaced. The paint on the fender looks a lot better than the hood, so that means it was a new fender, and the hood was repainted. But it's got an inspection too, so if I check it out and it needs a bunch of work, then what do we do? But you know, that's something to worry about if that's what happens. Gotta wait for each picture to upload. This tablet's not very fast, but oh, there it is. Got a dirty air filter. Take a temperature. Alignment. All right. The next thing is tires, brakes, and suspension. All right, I think we got close. It's about 15-20 minutes. The tablet's so slow it doesn't help. Every time you upload a picture, you got to wait 20 or 30 seconds. But we got it. I mean, the car needs work. We got axle boots, leaking grease, spraying it all around, both sides. Rear brakes almost metal to metal. The tires done. So we got it all in the inspection. We'll see if he wants to do anything else. If he does the brakes and axles and tires and stuff, shocks and struts, based on age and how bouncy the car is. And I'll show you this rear shock. Not looking too good. Not looking too good. Just a cover scrubbing on it, but it's got to be making noises and stuff. I would change them if it was my car, so I'm going to recommend them to the customer. The bump stops has been smushed. I didn't film the bounce test, but the car's pretty bouncy. That's what hurts the bump stops too, because once in a while you should lubricate this, by the way. Now this sticks a little too now. That's not a good look. Forgot what I was saying. Couldn't have been important, I guess. Looks pretty good, actually, suspension-wise. When shocks and struts are blown out, the vehicle bottoms out easier because the springs support the weight and the dampening slows the spring rate. So a spring holds the weight up, but when you're driving down the road and hitting bumps, the combination of the spring and the dampening in the shock and strut slow down the movement of the suspension because the pistons and the shocks and struts are in a heavy oil, and the oil has to go through either a fixed orifice or a slot in the piston. The oil pushes through. So when you hit a bump, the oil also helps control the car, keep it from bottoming out. And when they get really bad, I mean, you'll see cars going down the highway with the tire bouncing off the road. That's because the shock's blown out. Now the tire gets cupped, causes vibrations. The tire can actually jump off the ground because the shock or strut is bad. So this car doesn't have a ton of miles. Kind of weird, but they're blown out. I bounced the car and it just goes like that. We'll see if he wants to do this work. That's the other point I was going to make. The bigger problem with something like this is it only takes 20 minutes if the alignment goes well, but if he wants to do the work from the inspection, it might be 6-7 hours worth of work, and I won't get the other car done. So, just the nature of the beast. That's how it works in this flat rate system. Or even just if you're hourly, it's going to work the same way. They're going to give you other work to do and want you to get it done right. So you do the best you can. When it's time to clock out, you do that. It's not hardly enough rubber to grab the head onto. That's pretty fun. All right. At least get this alignment done. Looks like the front end's in decent enough shape to get that done. For some reason the alignment machine was turned off. Not sure why, but oh, good morning, sweetheart. This is why, like, I was talking to someone in the comments, they said, well, you have a 60-something hour week and you're complaining about hours. I'm like, I could have had a 70-something hour week. You understand how it works? No matter, like I said too, my best week ever was 94 hours. And all I kept thinking was, man, if a couple of them jobs paid a little better, I'd have 100 hours. That's like, I want to do as many hours as I can every week. As long as I'm doing a good job and cars aren't coming back, it's all about the hustle. And that's why there is a flat rate system. Because you're going to hustle if you're paid based on what you do. I think the whole world should be paid that way. Think how much more efficient it would be when you go get something to eat or whatever if they get paid a commission. These are random thoughts while it's uploading. Got all kinds of cool aftermarket accessories added to this car. Now it just needs tires and brakes. Now we're going to drive it forward. So the heads on the wheels will move just a third of a turn or so, quarter of a turn. It might even be a fifth of a turn if I do the math right. Anyway, the head's going to move, and it's going to see how the head moves while it rolls, and it's going to measure how centered the head is and compensate for that. That's why they call it a rolling compensation. The door's locked again. Okay, that's cool. I got the keys in the ignition and it locks the doors. That's how you know it's aftermarket trash. Because the factory, like if my Tundra, if I leave the keys in the car, I lock the doors. When I shut the door, the driver's door unlocks. Because it knows the keys are in it. In some ways, technology is good. Yeah, I'm guessing that's why he wants the alignment, the wheels off center. It's going to have a ton of toe out. Looking at it on the lift, well, it's going to have some toe out. And this wheel's way off to the left. Okay. Oh yeah. What's wrong with that? It's perfect. We're going to have to lock the brake pedal and the well, no, we did the caster speed. We're going to have to lock the wheel. It was hit on the right side, and the right side is -2 degrees.
So, they're not worried about getting that thing done today?
What?
They're not worried about getting that.
Oh yeah, it has to be done today. He said, "I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm sorry." I said, "Don't apologize to me." There was no adjustment for caster. So all I can really do in this car from the factory is set the toe. I will ask him if they want to do camber kits and correct that. But we can get the toe straight and get his wheel straight. See what happens from there. It's up to him if he wants to do the camber. That's extra. I think they charge a half hour aside. You take the strut bolt out. You put a smaller bolt with a cam on it. And then once I install the new bolt, I'll loosen the bottom bolt just enough that I can adjust the camber. Sometimes you have to take the weight off the car. Sometimes you can do it with the weight on the car. But that's the process if they want to do it, but we'll see. Lock nut is 15/16. That's a shame. I didn't think it would be that big. They're usually 19s or 7/8 on those, I thought. Now we're at +31 on the left. And remember that. And we will put some toe in on this side. Something's got to be bent a little bit or something. It's weird. It's a lot. I don't see any visibly bent Like usually you'll see the inner tie rod or something will be bent. The other side's staying put. That's pretty good. That means the rack's not all sloppy. If, with the steering wheel lock, if the other side moved a lot, then that means the rack and pinion's sloppy. Because if you're holding the wheel, it shouldn't move. At least not much. Sometimes you can change the way it's loaded and it'll move a little bit.
Did you see anything in there with traction control, anything?
Nope.
No. So should I go drive it and see if I get it to act up?
Sure.
Would that be helpful or not?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Sure.
Who has the keys, you or in the car?
In the envelope on my toolbox. Well, at least the AC is draining on my head. That's cool. I wouldn't have it any other way. He's almost halfway down already. Have I recorded too much again today? It shouldn't be more than a half a turn or so in, I hope. We'll see. Lock nut is lock nutted. Yeah, that bumped the steering when I did that. That's alright. You just go like this. Bump the tire again. The other side was at 0 or 1. So that should be good. Let's see if the steering wheel's straight. We're done with this one. I gotta put his air filter back in too. He's a mechanic. If he wants it perfect, he's got to pay for camber kits. He needs some tires and stuff like that. But you gotta take the heads off. If you go road test it with the heads on, it's gonna be real lumpy. Well, we got our air inlet tube. After the Ford guy dropped off some kind of intercooler and left, and I'm like, uh-oh, that's the wrong part. Then they called him up. They said, yep, he's on his way back. He dropped off the wrong box and left someone else yours. I guess it can happen. This is a pretty simple repair. We already fixed the turbo inlet tube yesterday that popped off. When this breaks, it won't cause a boost code because this is on the inlet side. It's not under pressure other than atmosphere. It's not under boost. But with this broken, it helps with the purge system, so you could get potentially purge codes. The most common failure on these is the purge valve itself, which we just did one the other day on a different Escape. This one someone broke. You can see too, I'm probably gonna try to find the correct screws for this. I noticed it's not even tight. These aren't the right screws. These screws are tightened into the reservoir, but not into the plastic bracket. Not the end of the world, but I just don't want to have someone say I did it. That's my only real concern. It's probably fine. What do you think? Should I worry about that? I think I'm gonna. Pro tip. This screw isn't designed to fit into this hole. So whoever did this and doesn't know. And I'm going to guess this screw might even be larger. I don't know. I guarantee whoever did this isn't too worried about using a scope in the shop. These aren't the exact screws either, but they won't mosh this up and push it off to the fin. I bent this back in so it hopefully will stay on. If I can get it on now. Now, I didn't even take this off. But I feel better about fixing it. And not having someone come back and go, what did you do? Royalty Motors said you messed this up. They're a little bit small, but better than it was. Perfect. Now, while you guys were charging up again, I took this bracket out. And this goes in here like this, under the pipe. And it goes to this bracket, which you got to loosen to get the bolt that's under it. And you got to loosen this one back here, which I think is a 12 as well. I just used a little box wrench. And, oh, that might be a 14. It's a 12 down here. This cast iron one's got a 12, and the sheet metal one's got a big old 14. And at first I thought I was gonna have to loosen the turbo or something. But you can just loosen it enough to get to the bolt, I think. So that's what I'm doing now. Now you're all caught up. We're gonna make some progress. I'm not going to take this out because then I'll never get it started again without removing the turbo. I just want to loosen enough to get to that bolt. And the valve cover's obviously got to clear it. I can't loosen this with the wrench on it too much. I think that's going to be good. I'm going to try that. I don't want this bolt to fall out. I don't know how long it is. And a 14 for that one. I can't get the box on it. Let's hope it's not crazy tight. And it is. That's cool. The heat shield keeps me from getting the box end on. And the open end feels like it's either going to flex, and the O2's right there. I really don't want to damage it. And the bracket stops me from getting it down here. So I'll have to come up with something for that. I think what I'll come up with for it is trying to get the valve cover off with it as it is. That's the brace for the manifold funnel. Worst case scenario, you guys know. I'm not above tweaking out of my way a little bit and then tweaking it back if I need to clear this here. It looks like it might fit. This one, no, it wouldn't have, so. I don't think the gaskets are even here yet. But I'm about ready to pull this valve cover off. That side, I still got to take the injector pump off of that side, figure some of that out, but this is going to clear on this side. I don't want to pull it off though because the gasket's not here yet. And you know I don't like leaving an engine open for a long time, but we'll get the coils off of there for now. Wow. I got to loosen that fuel line. I hope that's not going to be a problem. It must. I hope it flexes or something. If it doesn't, that's going to be a problem. Yeah. Maybe that's why they want you taking this coolant tube off, because you got to get back there and take the fuel line out. I don't know. I do have to blow with a blow gun a little bit here. I'm seeing some debris. We don't want any debris in the motor. The valve cover's really not leaking too bad. It's leaking around the spark plug tube seals a little bit. That's a done deal. I know the injector pump's in the way. That's got to come off. Should be a 17 on the fuel line. Stop procrastinating and do it. That wasn't nearly as tight as I thought it was going to be. Another one of those things where it wasn't loose. It just wasn't very tight. Some of these are very sensitive to lifting it off together. Not loosening one way too much, like I might have already done a little bit. But these bolts are about 1 inch long. Got to remember that. We got lots of 10s around here. Other than you guys, I'm saying. Put a rag over this module connector port, so I wonder if they want you to take this tube off because of the 10 down there. Yeah, that might be the case, huh? That might be the case. don't know where this bracket connects to. If I can just move this back a hair, it should be pretty. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's a solid mounted fuel line. Therein lies the problem. Let me go look in the procedure and see what they want you to do to get that fuel line out of your way. Unless it's back here is a fitting. Ah, nice. I thought it was going to be one piece or go under the plenum or something. That's good. Doesn't make it a whole bunch easier, but just got to get a couple more things out of the way. I think that's all the bolts. The harder, there's two brackets holding this on. So getting to that back bracket, I had to get this off of this metal bracket to fit my little ratchet wrench in there. I told you how much I like my little ratchet wrench. I like it so much I misplaced it. Oh, there it is. I put my little ratchet wrench back there to get that one. So that was the most fun so far, but we got it. I don't think it'll make the video. Let's just put it that way. Let's see if we can get this to clear. Going to clear this tube right here and clear this fuel pump boss or mount, flange, whatever. I believe I have all the bolts out. You guys know if you spot something, let me know, right? I think these bolts might have to come out too. No, it looks like they're moving. This is just a fill tube. I don't think that will be bolted to the cylinder head. We'll find out in a second here. Nope. Another once over. I don't see any bolts missing that I missed. Something is happening. Now I might have to take this coolant tube out too. I don't know, but if I do, the bolt for it is down here. 12 millimeter. The bigger problem is the brackets in the front here, I can't even see where they're bolted on. So I'm hoping to avoid it. See if my optimism pays off this time. Nope. This bracket here is just in the way enough in a dipstick tube combination. Let's see here. With a little coercion. It's literally 1 millimeter. This tube here touches the valve cover, and this bracket here. Let me show you up close. I keep forgetting the camera doesn't show it close. After all these years, you'd think I would know better. This tab. I wonder if I just take that off, it'll give me that little bit of extra room. The sheet metal won't be on the metal tube, and then this kind of touches too. Touches the plastic. See how close it is? It could save me an hour's worth of work if this tab was over here and this bolted like this way. The bolt either went from this side or this side and the tab was straight up. That would fit. A little bit of carbide bit on the corners. I just took the corners off of it and it popped out, just barely, but it popped out. So that's a good thing. Now, just a matter of cleaning some of the mess up. I already wiped it down real quick with the shop towel. I'll use a couple of them, go around, get the oil, then I'll go around with a new one with brake clean on it and wipe it all down. Got to get the old RTV off of here and here. We'll put new RTV on right before we drop the valve cover on. I don't think the gaskets are even here yet though. I'm gonna go check, we'll see. Sometimes you'll drop a bolt. why this one doesn't tighten. Sometimes you drop a bolt and it turns into a bolt nut finding expedition. And we found it. It was a fairly common bolt in the valve cover on the right side. The main reason I dig them out is because someone does an oil change and goes, there's a bolt laying in here. Where did it come from? So I don't want that. Oh, look at this drag car. Heck yeah, baby. You guys do wheel alignments? Sure do. See tires in the front are 4 inches wide. Maybe they're wider than that. It just looks that way. I don't know. But we can't even lift that car. So. Hope he thinks it looks cool. Because we can't lift it. Well, I guess we could move the Corvette. But it's been there for like 2 or 3 months. We might as well leave it there. It's comfortable where it's at. You guys do wheel alignments? I just lowered my Mustang. Yeah. But you'll have to raise it back up, then we can align it. Just stop. It's gonna be fine. I think they forgot to order the gaskets for this and they're coming from the dealer. So now I don't know what'll happen, but I've got it all apart, so kind of out of options. Let's see if this valve cover comes off with this on here. Again, let me know if you spot one I missed. Alright. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So I've got it halfway at least. It's 11:25 according to the Making It Work clock. Not too bad. If I get my gaskets and stuff, I think we can get it done today without much trouble. Depending on how many race car wheel alignments we get and stuff like that. I pulled the Sienna in. Apparently they want to do a tune-up in coils. I could never get it to do anything for me. I don't know what happened with that, but it said it's got to be done by lunchtime tomorrow. I'm like, well, it's almost lunchtime today and I got to finish the Stinger. I was going to start on this and then the gasket showed up. So here we are. We got a gasket in a pouch. Look at that thing. Packaging's not even what it used to be, never mind parts quality and stuff. At least it came from Kia, so we have good odds of success. We'll see. I'm gonna get this gasket in place. I cleaned the oil out of the tracks pretty well. Sometimes it'll seep back in. Pretty forgiving in that regard, but the side where the RTV goes and the gaps on the motor, those have to be spotless. No oil film in there. So let's start getting this thing back together. This is all one piece. It doesn't come with any of the O-rings for the solenoids or anything, but those are kind of high up. I don't think that's going to be a big problem. I know we're going to find out if it's going to be a big problem. I don't see the gaskets for the injector pump and stuff too. I asked them to get me those, but we didn't get them, so we're going to work with what we have. One of the things in auto repair that is kind of, it's always been this way, but imagine if you went to the doctor's office and the receptionist at the office determined the work the doctor was going to have for the day and did things outside of what the doctor wanted to do. And then the doctor had to look at the computer to see what they were going to do. Would that not be a little weird? I don't know. But this industry has always done it that way. People at the front determine what work's going to come in, what work's not going to come in. We got a 1-star review today. That Mustang I showed you, the drag race car that was lowered and all, he wanted us to do something for him with his parts, and they said we don't do that. So he left and gave us a 1-star review. We didn't even do anything for him. We didn't even do any work for him, but we got a 1-star review from him. So it's not my shop, so it's not up to me. But if it was my shop, that guy would go on a list in the computer, and as soon as you go to put his information in, not a potential customer is what it would say. And we wouldn't do anything for him on any of his vehicles he owns ever. Because people that are going to punish you for not doing what they want, whether it's right or wrong, I don't want them for a customer. Just me. Just me. That's all. No big deal. I don't know. Let's stop talking and put some bolts in. That's what I do now. Trick here is the delicate balance between how tight you tighten this bracket. Now I got to get in there with my box end to finish tightening it once I get the 2 bolts lined up. There's 3 actually. This rusty one goes down here. And that seems a lot harder to get to, so I'll get that started first. Valve covers are on and torqued. Why this is fighting so hard. It came right out. That's a big deal. Should fit. I gotta flex this pipe over, I guess, so I have more room to manipulate this bracket around.
We're not still stuck from yesterday.
There's a couple of things I avoided doing, so a lot of that worked out pretty well. Like on the other side, because it's a metal tube over there, the 1 valve cover bolt, I had to put my pry bar in there and go, just get the metal to go, just literally 2 millimeters. And then I was able to fit my chrome swivel socket in there for that 1 bolt. Otherwise you gotta take that whole tube out and all. So I saved probably an hour doing that. You guys see what I did with my big ratchet? I think Ryan has it. He put the spark plugs in the front bank for me on that Sienna. He's like, yeah, you have a lot of work to do. I helped you out while you were at lunch. That's pretty cool. That's what Rob used to do, man. This is going to be next, I think. I could also put this on here. This goes back here. There it is. That's just got to be for noise, I suppose. That. But you can see where that washer left a witness mark. So these must go in there. Although they seem kind of short to me. But I didn't design it. It just holds a wire harness, I suppose. Little by little, we'll just keep installing the stuff we know. And the things we aren't too sure about will fall into place, we hope. You can take this off. I kind of like these. They're flexible S-hooks for whatever. Brakes, pulling a wiring harness out of the way. You can adjust them and stuff. The orange ones are solid. You can't adjust those. I think I've mentioned that before, but it's been a while. For my new people. I'm gonna get on the other side. I think I'll put this whole wiring harness back on, all that stuff back on the other side. And then this bolts to the intake and the valve cover, I believe, or something like that. Get these on. Put this on here. That's got to go to the plenum somewhere. There's a bracket that goes back here for this, which is right here. And this hose goes in here like this. Once I get this on, don't get sidetracked. This bolts like this, and on the valve cover down here. This is going to go like this. A couple more of these guys. I already tightened a few lines before I went to eat. I'm going to tighten those before I sidetrack myself. That's exactly how stuff gets forgotten. You start jumping around thinking, what else can I do? When you move past something you just started and didn't finish. Got to be careful of that. Even though you're going to double check later on, right? Yeah, I can do the electrical connector afterwards. I might have just burned myself by putting that on first, but hit that son of a gun. It's the only way they're going to learn. There it goes. This is what powers that pump, duty cycle. This goes here. And put this in here. Might be better to go from underneath. I know it goes underneath these wires. Connects to this little T on the front, like kind of like the timing cover, sort of. And onto this tube. Two bolts go down this bracket here right after I put that clamp in place. This is going to go on top of the plenum. New gaskets in place. Got my nuts on there. That hose that goes across a couple of these was almost like the last thing. So we're getting close. These go to the throttle body and stuff once that's on. There's no sensor down there I know of. I gotta look at the intake plenum and see if that goes to the back of that before I go too much further. Anytime you're not sure, just walk over for a look-see. This bolt's on there like this. That's where that connector goes to. My intake is staged. My sound barrier is also staged on top of the intake, because that way I won't forget. Not that I would ever forget, but it is entirely possible. My younger days, I thought I was so smart and invincible and perfect I would never make a mistake. And after a few mistakes, I said, wow, I got to come up with a plan. I am not superhuman. Whoa, 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 whoa. Fast and furious, bruh. Two studs. Electrical plug we talked about earlier. Click. No worries. I had to switch my nuts out. I had the wrong 10s over there. So I got my two little black nuts going in this manifold, and the two nuts with the big washers go on the harness bracket. Coolant hoses for the throttle body. Rubber's getting a little stiff. You know where this car will be when it's 20 years old, right? Alright. Yeah. That's going to get plugged in once I get the rubber elbow on here, but I want this torque down first. Put the brace bolt in loose. And I'll leave it so I can see threads. So it's obviously hasn't been tightened. And we'll do the manifold first. Well, you know what? That's where those bolts from earlier with the bigger washers go. Ha-ha! Pliers. Thank you. Appreciate you holding on to those for me. Still got to torque it, but I'm on some kind of mission of some sort. This is like the valve cover is much the same. This metal bushings, so once you tighten it, you're not. But I still torque them just because they're surprisingly not always the same tightness, and sometimes you occasionally could miss one. It's just a good habit, I think, to be in. Most manifolds might not have those spacers that stop you from over tightening it. Put that away, we're done with that. I think this goes under here like this. That's unfortunate. Well, I don't have to undo the intake. Just the harness. That's alright. Going a little faster than I normally would because I got a lot of work that's been promised out. Sometimes going faster, you get done quicker. Sometimes going faster, it takes longer. Just the way it is. I don't want to lubricate this because there's boost in there sometimes. Should be an 8, I think. Now it's safe to plug these in too. Nope, the other way. going to undo that and get the foam in there. That'll only take a second. Told you that foam would hop right back in there real quick. Didn't take but a 1/10 of a second or so. If you have some extra bolts, don't panic. They go to your vacuum assembly. Now all those extra bolts I had make sense. I'm like, what the heck? I know I don't think I forgot anything. And I'm like, oh wait, still got to put the vacuum hose on, and there they are. I don't know how you forget. I just took it apart a few hours ago. No, I'm not getting old. It's not the reason. You're working fast. You're working on several different things. I worked on, what, 3 cars today that you know of? How did I tell you too, Joe? They had Joe look at the Escape. I put that Dorman purge valve on last week. Came back. It's got a different purge code now. So they're getting a Ford purge valve. Not really funny. I did point out the fact that it was in a Dorman box though. And I like how they make it easier to replace, and I blew through it before I put it on. But apparently Joe tested it and said he couldn't blow through it either, but something happens under boost that's blowing the Dorman purge valve open. It's not staying closed like the factory one would, or did, or should. The factory one didn't work either. That's why we changed it. Caused the whole problem. The factory part going bad. Everybody wants the factory part so bad. That's why we had to fix it. Problem is, the aftermarket stuff's worse in some cases. The aftermarket has a real opportunity to make money by offering a better part when it comes to replacement, but instead they just tell you they'll give you a great warranty and hope that you get rid of the car. What the heck? I think we're about there. I feel like I've got another bolt I have to find somewhere. Oh, I got a hose over here. Knew there was something I was missing. And I think Jason already did the oil change. The AC back and recharge would die. 2 rear tires. So it should be all I have to do. I got to put the plastic back here still and do another once over. I popped these out of the firewall. These will go back in the rubber here. It's kind of tore, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get it to stay in here. You can't get the rubber to go over them while they're in place, so you got to take them out. And you can see why people just usually leave these out, because they're a real pain in the patootie. Fresh and fruity pain in the patootie. But they go. Then at least I'll feel better about it. Before I snap anything back in place though, I'm gonna have to get it real close. I got some snapper doohickeys right here. Some of them are broken, but that was not even going to stay in there. I don't know why I'm bothering. You see, they fall out. They're broken. I got to see if we can dig something up. I can't. I mean, these things are like $3 a piece. I can't give them 10 of them. I can give them 2 or 3 without anyone knowing anything. These are a tiny bit shorter, but they seem to be working okay. So that's good. I got these pushed in except this one. That's it. I got to get this cover. Where'd I put it? I need you guys to really keep up with that. Did I have a cover over here? I might not have, because that's a battery box. That's why I'm missing a cover. Didn't have one. Nope, didn't have one. Okay. I think we've got everything. I think I'm about ready to fire this thing up. Pray everything's good to go. Let's do that. I gotta put a little coolant in it, but not much. You saw I just barely lost like a couple of tablespoons. So it's gonna have more coolant in it when we're done than it had when we started. Gurgling down, okay. Thirsty, huh? I was thirsty, I ain't anymore. Went to KFC, got some nuggets, chicken nuggets. They're actually real chicken, it was pretty good. 8-count nuggets and a drink. Got to fit back into my thong eventually. I gotta start doing some, I either gotta lose weight or I gotta take advantage of my cleavage. And I saw a video the other day where a girl's doing pottery. And I'm like, why does this video have 6 million views? And she's jiggling her boobs while she's pretending to make a bowl or something. I'm like, ah! The secret to success, boobs. I think the keys are in it. I'm not sure why the AC caps aren't back on, or I can screw this one on, it's right here. I have to find a cap for that, but I don't know what happened to it. I didn't take it off, but it's not gonna have any fuel pressure for a second. Ow, ow. Don't bang your elbow, that hurt. The vehicle is on. That's true. Seven and a half hours, it took about 5. All that crying and moaning worked again. I'm gonna keep that up because it's working. If I don't complain about my hours, I get hurt. If I complain about them, all of a sudden they're good. I don't know what happens. I'm gonna let it run a few minutes, take it for a drive, start in the Sienna. Ryan helped me out. He was using a regular 16mm socket, not a spark plug socket, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Gotta applaud the effort. All right. It's loose. Come on, let's do it. There it is. Yeah, it's nice. Comes right off. I don't think they said the coils won't be here till tomorrow, and they want to do them because of that coil primary code. I'm like, well, the problem hasn't reoccurred. It's out of my hands at this point. I'm doing what I'm told. Something like that. Gravity check. First one of the day. Congratulations, Cornwell. You know what's funny? Why am I struggling to do this when I'm going to take the wiper cowl off anyway? Shouldn't I wait? Don't you think? I got so excited about moving on with my plan that I just totally went past the fact that when this is out of the way, it's going to be a lot easier. And this is snapped in. And I mean that literally. It's snapped in and it's snapped out. Something like that. guess I should move that to the back. I do have the brakes and stuff here to do the rear brakes, but I don't know. I just kind of want to get this plenum off here tonight, and then we'll see if we get to the rear brakes tonight too. What is that for? Not for anything important, I hope. It's not attached. Where do you think that's supposed to go? I guess I could look it up. There's no sensors here. There's nothing in the wiper cowl. That's odd. Usually something like that is going to be a sun load sensor, an ambient air temp sensor, although they're usually up here. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to move on, see if I bump into something that needs it. I think this has a couple of the strut bolts holding it on too. Pretty cool trick, Toyota. Pretty cool trick. There was a small baby squirrel plugging up the vent drain, cowl drain. Not really a baby squirrel, I'm just kidding. That's not funny, Jimmy. That is not funny. Oh, you know, if I could see, much easier. Told you that I was kidding, didn't you? A lot of things that I do, I don't need to see what I'm doing. I can just guess and do by feel. But some of these little tiny clips and little tiny unusual fasteners you're not familiar with. Now, if I didn't mind breaking them, then I could just get mean, get my trim stick tool and go whack and yank them out of there. And I'd probably save time and I'd probably break half of them. I wouldn't do that. This one I might have to, because they put this where you need to squeeze it to get it out. Just because I was bragging about not liking to break them. That's how it works. Came out without breaking, just tweaked it up a little bit. It's gonna be fine. I grabbed the 14 to do the wipers. Where'd I put it? I thought that was it. I don't know what's happening right now. That's not what I wanted. Ow. Don't hit the windshield, whatever you do. 14. I don't know what happened. Someone switched it out on me when I wasn't looking. Whoa. This is how you know this car is from up by South Main Auto. Let go. I mean, what the heck? Eric, what are you doing? Sending this stuff down here. Now what's really cool is this connector, there's no way to get to it. It's in its own little connector clip tool. It's in its own little connector clip tomb. That's the expected result. It's not the way I wanted it, you guys know. I'm doing my best, playing the cards I'm dealt. Now, look at that, practically falls off of there.
I like how they put the spacer in there so you can't over tighten it and split the boot. Although I only find the boot damaged by the clamp half the time. Most of the time it cracks in between the bellows. But there are times I find it cracked where the clamp is because they're over tightened. And I told you guys about how you watch the rubber compress, you can't turn it, you're done. On a radiator hose, same thing with that. Doesn't take a ton of force. It takes a little bit of a touch. It takes the right amount of force. And it also takes a clipper doodle on your harness. Where'd it go? Okay. Here it is. I don't want to drop any of these, so I'll voluntarily extricate them. Alright. Now, this is attached to that. Shouldn't be a big deal. This here PCV hose. Back in my day, when you did a tune-up, you did a PCV valve. They don't do that necessarily anymore. I'm not sure why. I don't know where this goes, but I'm going to temporarily move it. I know this goes to the air box. I'll temporarily discombobulate it and see where it goes after. Oh, Lord. There we go. I gotta blow some of this mess off of here. An awful lot of dust. Driving on them salty northern roads before they move down here to the Sunshine State. I'm blowing in further so that it'll pull dirt that might be on the edge out. You go past it, it blows out. That's the theory. There's no, I can't make any guarantees, but it's generally how it works. There's a bunch of 12s hold the plenum down, and I believe these do have a bracket on the back, but I'm not positive. Oh, you know what? It might be under the throttle body. This is a newer one than I've ever done before. It's different. Not heaps of different, but different. Something back here. There's a brace right here. I think that's a 12. And of course the throttle body being still on is going to be in the way. We'll have to cope with it. Get an extension. We'll get a 12. And we'll see what we can do back here without seeing it. We'll close our eyes. Perfect. I told them the tire light's on in that Kia. You want me to check the tires and stuff? Will Jace mind giving up the labor from that? They're like, what? So they're over there checking the tires. Yeah, that's good stuff. That is. Ugh. Jeez Louise. All right, another hose. From the vacuum pump to the plenum. That's weird. It tees off and stuff. That is really strange. Okay, no big deal, we'll get it. I got pliers for days. Well, I got good news, I got bad news. Plenum's out of the way. I can't see the coils still. That's not good. back here somewhere. Now, I wonder if the connectors still break. What do you think on these modern ones? This is like an 18 or something like that. I was gonna try lifting it out without disconnecting, and then I remember, wait, I think they got a bunch of coils for it too, so if the connectors break, they break. I don't want them to, but they have to come apart. Either way. What the heck? Oh, this one has a rubber boot on it. What the heck is that about? But the other coils don't. I guess that one must get water from the wiper cowl dripped on it a lot or something, so they insulated it with a rubber boot. That's weird. Not sure what they're thinking over here, but they don't have to be gentle because we're replacing them, but still, what the hell? How's that thing so stuck after just a few years? Oh no. The AC's in the way. What do I do? Alright. Let's see if we can do it this way. Do not like the way that felt at all. Toyota. What's going on over there at the Toyota plant? It's got a 3 electrode Denso Iridium. I don't think, is that a factory spark plug? I can't tell. First time I've seen one from the factory, if it is. I had to stack my extensions on this one because the brake lines are there. And whatever other lines those are. These must be factory because the replacement is NGK instead of Denso, but they have the same 3 ground electrodes. Very strange. Toyota thought they're getting a 1,000th of a mile per gallon more or something with those. I don't know. They're like, yeah, it just costs the customers $40 a spark plug, and they get a 1/10 of a mile more per tank full. Fuel economy from a car is based on several factors. One of the main problems they have is, let's talk a second. One of the main problems they have is a certain amount of mass with a certain amount of wind resistance and a certain amount of rolling resistance or frictional drag. It takes a certain amount of horsepower to maintain a certain speed. So whether you have 1 cylinder making 22 horsepower, 12 cylinders making 22 horsepower, it doesn't matter. If it takes 22 horsepower to move that car with all that criteria. That's why they have the cylinder on demand stuff and all that, trying to get a little bit extra gas mileage, but as long as it takes 22 horsepower to move that vehicle at speed, doesn't matter how you do it. It takes a certain amount of fuel and a certain amount of air to generate 22 horsepower. Right? Does that make sense? So this is one of the things that's really odd to me, how complicated they're making everything. But it still takes 22 horsepower to move that car with all those creature comforts, all that weight, the rolling resistance of the tires. You got a tire that gives you a nice soft cushy ride and traction when you're braking and all. That's rolling friction. A lot of engineering, a lot of factors, but it still takes 22 horsepower. It's not gonna, gasoline powered car is only gonna get so much gas mileage. And I know people say, oh, in 1978 I had a Honda CCV that got 98 miles to the gallon and ran on water. No, you didn't. I'm not calling anybody a liar, I'm just saying you're not telling the truth. where those older cars had an advantage is they didn't have ABS, they didn't have airbags, they didn't have fancy stereos, sound deadening material, acoustic glass, you know, giant diameter wheels that weigh a lot. So the Honda CCVVV would get really good gas mileage because it weighed nothing, had no safety features, no conveniences, no comforts. They got 50 miles to the gallon. I know because I worked on it when I was a kid. People say they got 90, but that's not true. They did get 40 or 50 miles to the gallon though, because there was nothing to them. So it took those cars 11 horsepower to maintain 55, 60 miles an hour. Where's my coils? I can start on the brakes now. All the plugs are in and torqued. See if we can get these brakes done. I want to see the brake fluid, that's why I'm doing it this way. I don't always. But the brake fluid looks beautiful. Before I let up, I got to get that bleeder closed so we don't introduce air. Make sure it's... Oh, that's not what I wanted to happen as I spoke it into existence. No more air. What a mess that makes of my tools. I got a brake clean for that. Fast and furious, bruh. Never gets old, man. You gotta listen to that all day. Maybe not all day. I could listen to that part of the day. Yeah, that's it. Part of the day. It's not even the loud that's really a problem. It sounds like crap, doesn't it? If you want to see an engine that sounds good, watch Steve Morris engines. It used to be Steve Morris Racing engines, but he built a Pontiac engine supercharged for 71 Firebird in a video last night. 1100 horsepower at the wheels. For a street car, just for fun. And when they drove it at the end, he goes, yeah, that's way too much power for the street. I mean, you could basically break the tires loose at 100 miles an hour. They didn't do that. But I have enough experience with 600 horsepower to know that 1100 horsepower is going to be pretty ridiculous. And these 150 horsepower cars with no mufflers just sound like crap. They don't make any power, they're not fast, they sound like crap. You don't have to let the police know that you're speeding by getting up to 100 miles an hour after 2 minutes. That's just mean, Jimmy. That's why we're doing the brakes. They're low. They're not an emergency, but they're pretty low. So I'm gonna clean this all up. We got new hardware. We'll pop that out while it's in here. It's easier to handle, I think. And you know, this pulls out and becomes a Phillips if you want. But it's a pain because it's always falling out when I don't want it to. Until the gear wrench guy comes in for a replacement, I deal with it. Probably a little too much for the old Milwaukee ratchet, but they made it long for a reason. I wish I could get Toyota to do brakes right, put a little lubrication under the hardware, but they won't listen to me. I don't know why. I apologize. Slides are in good shape, but I still have to put some grease in them. Still not over greasing them, just a little. Dabble do ya. Yeah, but dabble do ya. What'd I do with my pad? There they are. I found them. You guys are frisky today, moving all my stuff around on me. Appreciate that. Keep me on my toes. Keep me young. Two of these. Let's say you guys, I'm tired. Tired enough to forget to put the cap on the bleeder. Don't worry, I got it. It's about a 16-hour day. If I had the coils, I wouldn't get it done. It's late anyway. Should have been closing the doors actually a few minutes ago, but if I had the coils, it'd be about another hour to it'll be finished. And that's 4.5 hours labor. Those things paid well, pretty well. It's a lot of work. But I've done so many Toyota V6s, just a little bit different, but the same kind of. Got to torque the wheels. It's something I don't want to try to remember tomorrow. Man, I had them within 2 pounds. I didn't do the other one yet. We'll see if that one's as close as that first one was. Alright guys, we are shutting it down. Thanks so much for watching today. I really appreciate that support. The channel's doing really well this month. We seem to be gaining subscribers a little bit more than last month, so that's really appreciated. Those of you that are new here, make sure you torque the like button on the way out. The rest of you know to torque the like button on the way out. Everybody knows by now, I hope. Most important thing, hope I see you in another video, because you're awesome.